Look, I get it. You need to stretch your legs. But do we really have to set down on LV695? This place is freezing.
You think this is cold, dog? You wouldn't last a minute in a northern Ohio winter, Florida boy.
Yeah. I just wish I hadn't left my jacket back on Fury. All right, whatever, man. Go make your snowman or whatever it is you want to do while I try to thaw out here.
Time to make a snow angel.
Coolerbot! No!
Damn, I think he froze solid. Wow. I guess Coolerbot needs to thaw too. Eh?
Good one. All right, man, I'm sorry. I can't do this. Let's go back to Fury 161 so I can get my jacket.
Fine.
Welcome to Crew Expendable. I am a spaceship captain who left his jacket on another moon, Hallstrom.
And I am Guy who definitely does not also voice Coolerbot or Rohrbacher.
And we're just a couple of hardy explorers drilling for water underneath the alien universe. It counts, right?
It absolutely does. I don't know why my voice cracked just then, but I love it.
The power of editing. No one will hear your voice crack, but they will hear you reference the fact that your voice cracked.
Well, you could also cut that out because I did give a clean love it a second or two afterwards.
Yeah, we'll see how I feel in the edit. Got to keep you on your toes.
Fair enough.
Before we jump into this new comic book from Marvel, we had a milestone recently, Kenny. We're past it now, but we had 3,000 downloads of the podcast in the podcast feed and over 1,500 views on our YouTube channel, which is very fucking cool.
No one can see because this is an audio only medium, but I'm nodding my head in appreciation and acknowledgement right now. I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, man. Here's a question for you. Do you remember when we started the show?
Well, let's see. It is June 11th, so just over a year ago, as a matter of fact.
We passed our 1 year anniversary? We sure did. Our first episodes went up June 8th.
The first episode was released 3 days ago, 1 year ago, as of this recording.
Wow, man. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, dog.
I didn't get you anything.
It's fine. I didn't get you anything either, other than being on this recording with you.
Hey, well, that's gift enough. Man, a whole year. That's right. Because I had to re-up the URL recently too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure did. We actually, for all the listeners out there, a little peek behind the curtain. We actually recorded the first 2 or 3 episodes like a week or two before it launched. So it's actually been like a year and a couple of weeks since we started doing the show, and we were going to wait until we had like certain episode X recorded until we decided to release it. But then on a whim, we were like, you know what? We already got a few. Let's just launch it now. So we ended up doing it a few days early.
Trial by fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
And now here we are.
This will be our 40th published episode when it goes up. So not bad.
I mean, for a year, not bad.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Just want to say thank you to everyone who has checked the show out, stuck with it, listened, subscribed in your podcast app and on our YouTube page. I'm really genuinely surprised how quickly our YouTube page got those views, considering it was, 2 months ago that I decided to kick that off?
Something like that. Yeah, it was very recent.
I'll tell you, our most popular episode on there and in our podcast app is a book neither of us were super crazy about, Alien River of Pain. Yeah. That thing was a hit.
Yeah, and I don't want to say I don't understand why, because the episode was a banger. I mean, the book was not my favorite one we've ever read, but I'm sure the episode was great, so I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah, I think mostly people love that book, though, and we were a little hard on it. We've definitely had a couple discussions on what we would have done differently.
Yeah.
So all the people who love that book and have stuck with us anyway, extra special thanks to you. For
Yeah,
not
all the
just
people out
jumping
there
ship.
that are like, I'm a river of pain head. I'm listening to this specifically so I can hear their river of pain takes.
Yeah,
Well,
man.
sorry, I guess, but it's how it goes.
I think we were overall fine with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like both of us hated it or anything. I think pretty much everything we've covered on the show so far, we've come out on like the positive side of it,
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, if you're an Alien fan, like at the end of the day, what do they say? The worst day of fishing is still better than the best day of working, right?
That's right.
And that is generally how I feel about the Alien franchise. There's things I love. There's things I don't love so much, but at the end of the day, like, man, I still got to read an Alien story or watch an Alien story, and that's pretty fun any way you slice it. So, but yeah, there's definitely things about the series that I don't like. We've had plenty of frustrating conversations about like how the fuck does the xenomorph work, right?
For instance, yeah. Or like how every single story by the time it ends has devolved into the exact same thing. A whole horde of aliens and Wayland Yutani is there trying to fuck things up.
Yeah, or every comic book series seems to need one more issue in our opinion.
Also correct, yes.
Yeah. Really curious how that's going to shake out I keep wanting to call it Frost, but that's a different person. I'm really curious how that's going to shake out for Thaw.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out in 3 to 4 months.
I guess so. It's been over a month. So this released not last week, but maybe the week before. I think first week of June.
I believe it came out the 31st, I believe.
Over a month since issue 1, which came out on 4/26, right, for Alien Day.
Sure did. Did.
Question for you. Do you remember anything about Thaw issue 1?
I remember that the main characters were a family, a husband and a wife, and then I believe it's the wife's daughter, or maybe it is the daughter of both of them. I don't remember.
Right.
I don't remember if the dad is a father or a stepfather. But
yeah. Some of the dialogue was leading me to believe he was carrying stepfather energy.
I believe he's missing all or some of one of his arms.
Yeah.
I remember they have names that aren't just like, oh, this guy's name is Kevin, this girl's name is Sarah. Like they're more comparatively unusual names than that. And they're on, I believe it's only the 3 of them, and they're on like an ice planet doing some kind of like boring for research.
Right. They're
And I believe they dug up I think it's a face hugger.
Yep.
And then Wayland Yutani shows up at the end and he's like, all your research is ours. And they're like, I don't think so. But like, that's just kind of like the gist. I don't really remember anything else about it.
Okay. So I'll give you the names. All right. The young girl, we determined she seems like teenager age, right? Is named Zasha with a Z. Okay. The mother is Batia, and Batia
remember Batia. Now that you said it, I was like, yes, I do remember that name.
And Batia is pregnant. And then Batia's husband, Zasha's maybe stepdad, maybe dad, is named Dayton, and he does in fact have one arm.
Dayton. Okay, yes.
So what I remember from that series is they are on LV, whatever the planet is I said in the intro, or the moon. It's a moon, LV 695, I think I said.
Yes, 695.
And they worked for a company called Talbot Engineering, who is researching water resources, right? It's a frozen planet, or a frozen moon, LV 695. So they're there like pulling ice out and doing analysis on it to see if it can, I guess, become potable water that they can then export to colonies and load onto ships and stuff, which is a very interesting idea. Like I don't love the reality that before we've even stretched out into space, water is going to become a finite resource, but I love the exploration of this as like something that you need to deal with in space, right? How do we get water to our colonies, to our ships, on our cruisers, everything like that. It's cool. And during one of these like surveying missions, they do in fact find a frozen face hugger, which Batia then alerts Wayland Yutani about, or she alerts Talbot Engineering about it more specifically.
But it turns out that in the interim, Wayland Yutani had bought out Talbot. Is that how it plays out?
I think Wayland Yutani intercepted the information and then bought Talbot Engineering out.
Okay, well, either way, it sounds like them.
Yeah, yes. And they send a Wayland ship down, as you mentioned, with a whole bunch of ape suit troopers on it, which is always very fun to see.
Oh, I forgot about the ape guys. That's right.
And the Wayland Yutani suit that comes to talk to them is named Wendell.
Okay, I wouldn't have remembered that if you had just asked me, but now that you said his name is Wendell, I do remember that because you had trouble remembering his name and you kept on calling him Wiener instead.
Yeah, because he is. So I think the way that the episode or the issue ended up is that obviously Bhatia like wants to work with Wayland Yutani. This is in an era before xenomorphs are really well known. So she's like, look, I'm pregnant. My family, we're the only ones here. We want to get off this fucking place and nobody's come to relieve us. So like, let's make a deal. We'll give you the specimen we found if you take us off. I know this. She also knows this is valuable because she has some knowledge of Project Alpha, which is the center of of Alien Bloodlines, the first Marvel comic book series, which we haven't covered on the show yet. Which
is significant because this comic takes place like a few years before Bloodlines does.
Right. The Wayland guys have like taken Dayton into custody, and Zasha like escaped into the vents at some point.
But I believe she pulled out that frozen block of facehugger and just like left it there to thaw out before she fled. I remember that.
Yeah, it's something like that. She certainly gets her pack and leaves, and we do see the facehugger on the ground behind where she was starting to melt.
Yeah.
And the issue sort of ends with the facehugger, like his finger getting out, and then like a close-up of some xenomorphs or a xenomorph under the ice and the ice cracking around it.
Yeah.
So that's more or less what happened in issue 1. We both liked it. I remember that. We're both excited to see where the series goes. I don't want to speak for you. Stop me if I'm speaking for you too much here. But like, I think we were both relieved that the Colonial Marines didn't show up.
That is correct. I'm glad that the Marines weren't there. Although I'm sure, like, I don't specifically remember saying this, but I'm sure I did say something to the effect of, I wish there was a little bit more bone-crunching Xeno action.
Right.
But that's like something that I always just want to see xenomorphs killing people. That's what I'm here for. You know?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I guess the people getting killed by them, but
yeah, well,
we don't know any of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm not worried about them.
They're not real.
That's correct.
They had it coming for working with Wayland or whatever. I don't know.
Also correct.
Yeah. So let's jump right into issue 2. I'm going to read the credits like I like to do as a reminder. This comic book is written by Declan Shalvey with art by Andrea Broccardo, colors by Triona Farrell, letters by VC's Clayton Cowles, same letterer as the previous books, covers by Dyke Ruan and Matthew Wilson, and there are a couple of variants for this one by Philippe Massafera and Dave Johnson. But let's talk about this main cover. This was some of the promotional art, wasn't it?
I was just about to say, speaking of the covers, yeah, I believe this is like the promotional image they used. It's a close-up of Zasha. Well, not really close-up. It's like waist up.
Yeah.
And she's kind of like leaning forward, but facing towards the camera. And she has like a cool, like a haircut that I call a half shave, where it's like shaved on one side, but long and then combed over on the other. And she's like got her coat on, she's got a backpack on, she's like clearly going somewhere, except there is a face hugger crawling up her back and its tail is about to wrap around her throat. And she her face indicates that she is clearly not aware this is about to happen.
The art style is very cool in this. We kind of discussed it a little bit. It's got this sort of alternative vibe to it, certainly in her character design, right? She's got like the double pierced ear and the pink hair. It feels like, God, I can't think of the creator. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, it's gonna bug the shit out of me. Anyway, it's cool art style. In the interiors typically look kind of, I think I made a Naruto comparison, having never seen Naruto, just seeing clips and things like that.
Yeah.
It's good, interesting visuals. Everything. That's what it said. I said everything looked like it had like an animated quality to it.
Yeah.
And I think that holds true. Cover's very cool. It's very simple, right? As opposed to like the covers we saw for Icarus in particular, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which were always like very like detailed and painted and action heavy. And this is just like, this almost gives you the impression, and God, there's a part of me that wants this to be true, that like that face hugger's like hanging out with her,
It's like become her pal, her sidekick, her pet.
Yeah. Because it almost looks like it's like popping out of her backpack,
And see, it's funny that you say that because it actually kind of is, because until you said that out loud, I didn't notice her backpack zipper is open. It actually is coming out of her backpack.
Yeah, man. I would love them to be like, you know what? We're domesticating this face hugger. This face hugger is going to be her homie.
See, now that would be an interesting hook. That's not something we've seen before.
We haven't seen that before.
They've done plenty of plots about trying to domesticate a xenomorph, but they've never done a plot where they've successfully domesticated a xenomorph.
I mean, we always see them doing it with like the full grown, like with like the xenos proper.
Also true. You got to teach them young.
You got to start with the face hugger. Start with the ovomorph if you can.
That's right. That's right.
That might prove a little more difficult, but the face hugger at the very least, right? Like just pet it, talk to it, take it to the vet, get it fixed, right?
I think you're onto something, dude.
That'll be when Marvel hires us to write an alien book, that's what it'll be about.
That's right.
All right, let's jump into this bad boy.
All right.
Spoilers from here on out. We usually say this at the top of these comic book episodes. We're going to say it now. We are going to read this thing for the first time as we record. We have not read this yet. Yep. You're going to get our genuine, fresh reactions to it and plenty of spoilers for this issue. So if that's not your bag, we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where, like, since we've never read it before, we don't know what information presented in the comic is or isn't going to be important later. So we're just going to kind of mention everything,
Yes. Yep. And sometimes we miss things, which is why you should also read these on your own. Maybe you got the issue already. Crack it open, grab a green Monster energy drink, and read along with us.
Yeah, follow along. That'll be fun.
Sure. So, Weyland-Yutani is like set up shop here, haven't they?
Yep.
They are all over in this place.
Also, I was correct. This takes place the year 2195, which is, in fact, 5 years before Bloodlines takes place.
How many years after Aliens is this? We usually know this answer.
Aliens was 2179.
Right.
So whatever the difference is there. Was it 16 years?
16 years after Aliens. Okay. And so presumably 16 years after Alien 3 as well.
Presumably, yes.
So it looks like we're on like an excavation site, maybe. This is like the field where I think they were taking the samples for that. Yeah, that's the drill they drilled the sample out from before, right?
It sure is. Yep. Yeah, that was in issue 1. That was the big drill they were using to cut the hole in the ice.
And this whole place, this whole Talbot engineering site is now overrun with like Weyland-Yutani crawlers and employees.
Let's see. We got a couple of presumably Weyland-Yutani crew talking about the people that were stationed here. And they mention it's only a crew of 2, Batya and her husband. So I guess they either don't consider Zasha crew or they didn't know she was here.
Yeah. And they say, looks like he has a physical disability, workplace injury a few months back. That is something we forgot to mention. Dayton lost his arm on this job, on this planet.
Yeah, on the job. And I believe there was a minor point about like him trying to get some kind of like workman's comp pay or something.
Right. And there was that cool rad scene where the angry dad throws his food against the wall. Mm-hmm. So not feeling great about him so far.
Well, yeah. I guess we'll find out.
If nothing else, the family drama feels very real in this, I guess.
That's true.
I mean, a family of 3 stuck on an ice moon by themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but a 2-man operation for this whole place. Now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 dudes and ladies.
Right. We find out that the 2 people talking in panel 1 were a couple of researchers. And they're talking about how, one of them isn't sure if there's anything important or valuable here. And the other one says that, oh, there definitely is. They even reported they found something valuable that, quote, the higher ups were keen on.
Yeah. So the Wayland ship that was diverted here is the Boreas, the David Boreanus.
Classic. You may or may not have made that joke last episode.
The USS Angel. All right.
Love it.
Let's keep going. The USS Angelus, if you've seen the series, you know what that means. All right.
All right, let's see. They're going to apparently fire up the drill and try again.
Sure.
That's fun.
All right. Patterson, let's kick the nest a bit, see what happens. That's interesting that he's using that term. Do they know that there is a nest here?
I mean, that's just a phrase, so probably not.
Okay. Just poor choice of words on his part. All right. So they're running the drill. Everything's going well. And then, wait, holy shit. The ice is cracking open now underneath this big drill rig, and everyone's running away.
The ice cracks, and the drill starts to fall into the increasingly large hole in the ice. That's cool.
While one of the guys, one of the researchers exclaims, Jesus, which is, I think, maybe the first time Jesus Christ has been acknowledged in the alien universe.
Maybe, could be. We'd have to check.
Hey, we're not going to check.
Oh, okay. Well, and then it falls open. The ice breaks open, the drill falls down, and it creates a gigantic, why can I suddenly not think of the word crater in the ice, where there are dozens and dozens of what look to be either dead or unconscious xenomorphs, just all over the inside of the crater.
And she calls him out. She says, "What did you say about a nest? Man, I was ahead of the game." How many? There's like 100 here. Dozens,
there's dozens and dozens of them. Yeah, there's
Jesus
a whole
Christ,
lot.
People, and they all seem like out. Like this is talk about a sea of sorrows, right?
Yeah, and we can see the big collapsed drill in the center, and there actually are a few people down there, like the ones that were on the drill when it collapsed, and they send down some rope to get those people back out.
Oh man!
And unfortunately, one of them still inside the drill,
Patterson,
gets attacked by a living and awake xenomorph.
Yeah, well, it's at least like making faces at her, but I think she's still, or is she just face to face with it? I don't think it's alive. I think these things are like, you know how like there's that thing where you can like freeze a bee and then it'll come back to life after it thaws.
Okay, yes, fair.
So
I retract my statement of saying that it was alive and doing stuff earlier.
I think it's just frozen.
Yeah.
Like a bee.
But it's like right there.
But they get Patterson out. Okay. All right, watch those burns. They're acid based. Hose everyone down immediately. That'll be good in cold weather.
Let's see there. They're going to fire up the hoppers to get out of here.
Yeah, good idea. This is expletive deleted. Everyone on the hoppers. Get to the hoppers, right?
Yeah, the hoppers are kind of these like APC/crawler guys that they're driving around on.
Yeah, man.
The front half looks like an APC, but the back half is open like the cab of a truck.
Like a dump truck, and they're 6-wheelers. Pretty sick. I would drive one of these for work.
Mm-hmm.
Hold a lot of tools in the back there.
Oh. And one of these research guys recognizes the xenomorph and knows what they are. Gives them, of course, calls them Xenomorph XX121, and gives them the Latin name Internecivus raptus.
Internecivus raptus, which I guess just means alien organism.
Maybe, I don't know.
Hold on, we have the power of internet.
But yeah, he says that he's seen like, papers and like research and studies about it and stuff, but he's never actually seen one live in the field before. So he only knows them by reputation, I guess.
So this is probably something. Okay, holy shit. All right. Sorry, sidetrack here, everybody. When I type Internecivus raptus into Bing, Xenomorph Wikipedia page pops up first. There's an article here from Ars Technica. The throwaway line in Aliens that spawned decades of confusion. No, they're not called xenomorphs, at least not with a capital X. All right.
I mean, they are, but I understand what they mean.
A xenomorph repeats Gorman, et cetera, bug hunts and bad guys, Prometheus, blah, 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 blah. This has to be here in this article. Otherwise, I'm wasting everybody's time. Quarantine.
It can always be edited out.
No, it's staying in. Here we go. The various DVD and Blu-ray releases of the movies have assigned the fictional binominal name Internecivus raptus, or, quote, murderous thief.
Cool.
If you're willing to brave the dreck and sludge of the myriad of alien comic books, including such literary gems as Aliens vs. Predator vs. Terminator, you'll also stumble across Lingua Foda Achernosis, or Foul Tongue of Acheron.
I mean, honestly, I kind of like Murderous Thief better.
That's pretty good. Okay, so but this is something that has popped up on DVDs, apparently. This is brand new to me.
Yeah, Internecivus raptus. This is apparently not the first time in alien lore and canon this term has been used, but this is the first time I can think of off the top of my head I've ever come across it.
Regardless of the problems of alien taxonomy and phylogeny, ugh, I feel so dumb reading big words. It's all ultimately irrelevant. Neither Internecivus raptus or Lingua Feta Acheronsis have appeared on screen within the mainline Aliens movies, and so neither are canonical. This article, it should be noted, was written in 2014. So I bet we come across that term in something else. We should pay attention.
We certainly should. But yeah, like I said, one of these researchers comments that he'd seen them before in like notes and research papers and stuff, but has never seen them live in the flesh out on the field. And while the two, what do they call these things? Hoppers. While the two hoppers are driving away, we see at least two xenomorphs that actually are alive climb out of the crater and start running after them.
All right. Meanwhile, the keg. Is the keg what the research facility is called? That's pretty fun.
I think so. Like, again, it's a minor detail that I wouldn't have remembered on my own, but once I saw the keg, I was like, I think there was something in issue 1 talking about how they call it the keg.
Nice. And we've got Zasha crawling through the vents, right? Doing her best Newt impression. Oh, damn. There was my voice about to crack. All right, we're even.
I guess we're keeping it in then.
And she's listening to the ape troopers talking.
Yeah, just give a report.
That they can't find the runt. So they know that she's here.
Yeah, they certainly do.
He says, if the runt wants to get to the next wing, she has to come through me. And she says, oh, do I really? And she keeps crawling as the guy's like, nothing gets past me. Dumbass. But then someone snatches her.
And then, yeah, she comes out of the vents and a different ape guy snatches her up.
Yeah.
Pulls on her backpack, which opens up, and there is a face hugger inside of her backpack that comes out and attacks the guy. But it's clear from her reaction that she did not know it was in there.
Damn, that's just like the cover. How did that get in there? I guess we haven't found out. Because here's the thing. When we were talking about the last issue, I opened it up, and she was very clearly out of the room as the thing was thawing out.
I do remember that, yes. So yeah, I don't know, but like it's clear that the one coming out of her backpack was the one that was thawing out, because when it jumps out of her bag, a whole bunch of water sloshes out with it. So it is clearly the same one.
Wait, I'm taking a look again. Hold on. Okay. All right. I got that wrong. She pulls the specimen out. She does put it in her backpack in issue 1. Pardon me.
I definitely don't remember that, because I remember there was a shot of it sitting on the floor and starting to melt. That's
page 27-ish, right? 26 or 27. Then they go, then on page 28 or 29, it shows her walking and it shows her backpack, and then it kind of cuts in closer to inside her backpack. So she stuck this cube of ice in her backpack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I just must not have noticed that when we were going through it then, huh?
Because it does. I see the cube now, the drawing of it on the floor after she had left. It does look like could have been something in it, but I think that was just some weird shading choices because it doesn't look xenomorphy or face huggery.
Well, the thing of it is, though, is that earlier on in the issue, they did cut a big cube out of the ice that had a face hugger in it. And then later they bring a big ice cube back. So it's like, even if it wasn't necessarily intended by the writers to be that same cube, it reads as the same cube, which means it is.
Okay, but this was maybe they were being ambiguous on purpose to make this a jump scare, you know.
But yeah, like I said, he pulls on her backpack and the zipper opens up and a face hugger comes out, and clearly neither of them were expecting that to happen, and it unfortunately does latch onto the ape guy's face.
You can see the notch in one of its fingers where they had cut it too in the previous one. So like this is clearly the sample.
Also, notice how on this drawing of the face hugger, the end of its claws have like fingernails on them.
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude. I don't like that at all.
But yeah, it latches onto the guy's face and she freaks out, clearly not knowing what's going on.
And she runs off yelling for her mom.
Mm-hmm.
So she
sure does.
She's very young. Old enough. I'm going to say she's 16, right?
Which means she was born right around when Aliens takes place.
Oh shit! I like how gray the face hugger is too. Like it's been frozen for so long, it doesn't like really have its full color.
Yeah, it's not like the brown, tan, taupe color. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
I don't like how the egg sacs on it look super scrotumy though.
Yeah, they're a lot less like flat. They're like more rounded and puffed out. Yeah. I also don't like how like the throat tube in the center is like dripping water. I don't love that either.
But that's an effective drawing of a face hugger for sure though, because it
sure is. It is gross as hell.
Extremely gross and unsettling. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, she runs off calling for her mom while this dude is getting fucked up by the face hugger. And then it cuts to the two hoppers driving back to presumably the Boreas that they landed on.
Yeah, which is parked outside the keg, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm going to compliment these exterior shots. This one not doing as good of a job as some of those ones in issue 1, but again, these atmospheres, like it's very, very well expressed, right? I can feel the chill, you know.
It looks cold, that's for sure.
Yeah, one of those northern Ohio winters you've told me all about.
I haven't told you all about them. I mentioned them. All right. But yeah, they're coming back in, reporting an incident and a couple injuries. But apparently they can't bring them up on the radio. Let's see. And then somebody says, you didn't get a close look at those things. What if they're back at the base we're on our way to?
Yeah. Why the fuck can't we reach them?
Yeah, and somebody's like, oh, those things aren't at the base. We left them behind. It's fine. No worries. And as you say that, we see a shot of the two hoppers driving away from the camera, and there is a xenomorph clinging onto the back of the second one.
Of course there is. This is an alien book.
Of course there is.
And we've got the 6 fingers. We've got the thumb and pinky, and then the 2 and 2 kind of glued together. All right. So again, keeping track of fingers, something we do on occasion. Also, just remembering we haven't updated our synthetic list in a long time, and we met a shit ton of synthetics in Icarus that need to be added to that list. So
we sure did. But yeah, one of the hopper drivers hilariously calls them the losers from this moon, which is really funny.
The losers from this moon seem to have sabotaged their communications before we raided them. That's so funny. So they only have shortwave communication capability. Okay.
As they're saying that, we see the people in the back of one of the hoppers reacting in fear as a fucking xenomorph claws onto the top and hisses at them, fluid flying everywhere, and it's a really cool panel of it just like leaning in close, all pissed off.
This is likely going to be the podcast thumbnail. Look at that detail.
I had a feeling it would be. And
the red in the back, the red in the background, everything. Sorry, I just want to sit on this for a minute. Like, this is a well-drawn Xeno. There's a lot of detail and intricacy in this. He's got those, I don't know, what do you call, like, I guess it would be where the muscles were in the arms. It reminds me of like Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z.
How it just has like the little flat ridges all over it. Yeah.
I don't know, very cool.
And like the
drawing.
the spike, the elbow spikes coming out of the end, and
yeah, the tubes. It's got the tubes, right?
Mm-hmm. The engine tubing coming out of the back. Yeah,
good stuff. Right, for speed.
And then
this thing's got dual exhaust, bro. I don't know.
Does it have a NOS? That's the big question.
That's right.
Yeah, like asking if it has a NOS is a big deal to me because I just went and saw Fast X a couple of days ago, and I saw that after doing a marathon of all of the previous movies. And bro, there is so much NOS in these movies.
Except in Too Fast, Too Furious, where they were sponsored by Nitrous Express.
That is correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so much NOS, dudes. So you're like, it's going fast, and baby, it's going fast because it has NOS. Xenos have NOS now.
That's right. They are the definition of fast and furious.
That is correct.
All right.
Now that riff that made no sense is over. The Xenomorph is really angry, clutching onto the side, the top of the hopper, and then you see a big sound effect and a spurt of blood, and then the next panel is the Xenomorph hunched over inside the back of the hopper while like body parts are flying out.
Let's make it clear. The back of these hoppers are like dump truck beds, right?
Yeah, they're like open on the top. Yeah,
open on the top, closed on all the sides, right? So this is literally like a food bowl.
Yeah, it's like a trough, like a dinner bowl. Yes, that is correct.
He's just like, hey, dinner, like a buffet for me.
Yeah, if you jump down into the top, there's nowhere anything in it can go. So he just lands in and tears them all to shreds.
This panel is so funny because this hopper's starting to tip. The one in front of it has no idea what's going on. Those three guys look like they're fucking playing cards or some shit in that hopper.
Yeah, it's clear that they are not aware this thing is happening in the second one. Yeah.
They just can't be bothered.
And then it cuts back to the keg, presumably, and a couple of researchers or technicians or whatever are trying to get comms back up. And one of them even calls Wendell, the Weyland-Yutani guy, a creep. So that's fun.
Crafty bastards. Right, because they took down their communications array or something. I don't even think they did that. Like, I don't remember that being a thing they did.
I don't remember that either, but like, I don't know, maybe they did in the interim, or maybe it was just like a line from issue 1 that we don't remember or something. I don't know. Right. But like, it's one of those things where I don't remember that happening either, but the comic is making it clear that it did. So I'm like, all right, so then it did, whatever.
We got another drinking bird.
Oh, it certainly does. Shit, we do. Good point.
Yeah.
And the two technicians are talking, and while they're in the middle of talking, you can see little specks in the background of the two hoppers making their way in, and suddenly both of them just explode.
Yeah. As one of
them,
and
they're like, what?
One of them describes the job they're doing as donkey work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, if this is a statement or not, but these are two black Weyland-Yutani employees. Everyone else we've seen has been white. So like I wonder if he's hinting at some sort of like prejudice on the job here, which I wouldn't put past Weyland-Yutani, of course.
I would not do that either. Yes,
but this does seem like a conscious choice.
But yeah, they radio in to the Sarge that there's they say something happened out on the ice, and he says elaborate, and they say can't say. I don't know. I think you could say explosion, for instance.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he says it's Sergeant Williams is the one making the call. Yeah.
He asks, Sergeant asks, has the dig team reported in? And they say that comms are still down. But if they try to radio in, we can't hear them. And we see those panels over an image of the two hoppers exploded and like body parts and clearly two dead people in the front.
A head all carved up and scratched. Yeah, man, that's gnarly.
Yeah. And then while they continue to talk, we see someone actively on fire being chased by a Xenomorph that is also on fire.
Yeah. Damn, this is crazy.
Good bit.
Real quick, the guy they radioed to is looking at files that are very clearly like analysis of the xenomorph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arms and torso and head and a face hugger, all with like little labels and stuff on it. So like they have extensive research on these creatures already.
They sure do. Hell, he might even be looking at fucking whatever it was called, like Project Alpha or
Project
whatever it
Alpha,
was.
he could be. Yeah. And they're having this conversation and they're like, should we send out a team to investigate? And he says negative. There's enough of them out there. We're already running on a skeleton crew, and I am not satisfied with our status as like this person is running in flames as the xenomorph impales her from behind with its tail. And we hear the guy say the dig team is on its own. Not a lot of like cooperation amongst the Weyland-Yutani departments on the USCSS Boreas 10251979.
Because it cuts back to the Boreas there, and it is a guard talking to Dayton. Well, sorry, talking in front of Dayton's cell to another guard.
Yeah.
Um,
You need to stay on watch a bit longer. They got me on bridge duty, he says. Are you tempted to call him Dilton because we read all those Archie versus Predator comics? Because I am.
like, honestly, man, I keep on wanting to call him Hudson every time he shows up.
That's not even close. Why do you want
Well, the thing of it is he doesn't look like Hudson, but Dayton and Hudson have like a stylistically similar word flow to them.
Yeah.
And Hudson is an alien name I already know. So I just want to be like Dayton, Hudson. They're close enough, whatever.
Isn't there a Dayton, Ohio?
There is.
Yeah, that should be close enough for you.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Uh-huh, sure.
I remember it because it is geographically similar to me. Yes.
Right. Well, if there's a character in this that's ever named like Miami, I'm not going to forget that.
Fair enough.
All right. So they're just like looking in the window at this ad.
Yeah, these two guards are just like making fun of Dayton for having only one arm, and he's clearly very angry about that.
Everyone else is out of that dog dig site or that piece of shit base.
And then I think this is Wendell, I think.
Yeah, sorry, we're not brushing over this.
Oh, we're not.
One of the guards says, "Looks like I could handle that asshole with one hand tied behind my back." Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they made a similar joke in the first issue, which is why I was gonna gloss over it, because I was like, they already made this joke last time.
There's something about like give him a hand or something in the last one. I don't know, something equally shitty. These are the biggest like piece of shit Weyland employees we've had, because even like the jobbers are assholes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we're used to the executives being, conniving dickheads, right? But these are just like grunts. These are just like dudes.
Yeah, they're just dudes. Yeah.
And they're just like gigantic fucking assholes. This is like later horror sequel where like, let's just make everyone suck so that you're happy when they get killed. Like that's what they're doing here.
But yeah, it cuts to Wendell, and Wendell is in office room with Batya, trying to convince her to share all the info she has, because as he points out, we're technically co-workers because we own the company you work for, and you're legally obligated to tell me the info anyway. I'd just rather you willingly give it to me rather than I force you.
Yeah, and she says, "Mr. Wendell, no matter how much sugar you sprinkle on what you're serving, it's still a plate of shit." It's a good line. "I can't believe Talbot sold to you, blah, blah, blah. You're asking me to hand over my life's work.
Yep.
This is my legacy," she says. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but like she seemed really willing to work with them in the last issue. So I'm wondering what's happening here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll find out. Who knows?
Yeah, if you don't give it to us.
As he says, if you don't give it to us, we're just going to take it anyway.
She's objecting, but sort of passively, right? She's like, I'm taking a moral stance. Like, I know you're going to get this shit anyway, but like, I'm taking a moral stance.
Yeah, and he even says, so why hold out on us? Play ball like you said you would, and you could do well here.
Right. And he's also,
so it's clear that I'm guessing she agreed and then changed her mind afterwards.
Unless, of course, you've been up to trouble, a few unsanctioned experiments of your own. Ooh.
I mean, sure, I guess.
Could be. We'll see, I guess. Meanwhile,
and I guess there's a couple of ape guys going through the entire base, checking everything and everywhere to see what kind of stuff they find.
also ape gals, let's be clear. Plasma cutting doors open, right?
Mm-hmm. All right. They're looking for a guy named Earl, and then turns out Earl is the guy that got face hugged earlier, because they come across him and the face hugger is lying there dead next to him.
Yeah, and he sort of
regains
consciousness.
Yeah, they revive him. He describes it as some lizard thing. And then as soon as he starts to get up, he starts to have a lot of really severe pain. And then his chest blows open and a huge facehugger chest burster comes out.
This is a fucking gory panel. It's like from inside his chest split open looking at the other ape trooper.
Like the camera is inside the hole in his chest, pointing out towards the person looking at him going, what?
Earl, we're seeing chest burster POV.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
And it flies out of here, scurries away while everyone's like, what the fuck? And it flees into somewhere.
A lot of great detail on it emerging from the chest also, less so as it's running away. But it does have two little tiny arms. Isn't that cute?
Sure does. And let's see, someone goes after it to try to catch it or kill it maybe, and it leaps at her, and she fires at it and misses and hits some flammable tanks, and they go up and explode, and the keg is at least partially destroyed in a huge explosion.
Adios, muchachos, right? This is exactly what Ellen Ripley was warning the Colonial Marines about in Aliens. This is why they collected magazines.
And as the explosion is going on, it cuts back to the two blown up hoppers, and the xenomorph is like lying there, and it's kind of not really breathing heavy, but it's making sounds that would, for a character with normal physiology, indicate they're breathing heavily. But then the xenomorph stands up and starts hissing, and then dozens more xenomorphs from that crater come out of the crater and join it.
Holy shit. Yeah. Tons to be
That's
continued.
The final panel of the comics, folks. The to be continued, baby.
All right. Okay. This is going places quickly.
And then we got a preview of the cover or the cover for issue 3 here. It looks like a partially blown up keg with a big xenomorph standing on some rubble and screeching, but its tail is curled up over its head in a big circle like it is on one of the posters for Alien 3.
Very cool. Very cool cover. I'm into it. Mm-hmm. Looks like issue 3 is going to drop on June 28th. That's not too far from now.
And then just below that, I have an ad for readallmanga.com that has a picture of what's his face from One Piece on it.
Good old what's his face.
The main guy, the dude, the One Piece guy, him.
Yeah, isn't his name One Piece?
Probably. It probably is.
His name is One Piece.
That's right.
Is that it?
One Piece. That is correct.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
That was Thaw issue 2, baby.
Thaw issue 2. Kenny, what did you think of Thaw issue 2?
I will say, because I'm reading this issue online, I do not physically own a copy of it. There is one comment, and that comment was left a day ago from All I Have to Say. With underscores in between all of them, except for in between to and say. And his comment is, quote, moving too fast.
Interesting.
But anyway, to answer your question, what did I think? I liked it. It gave me the, as I said earlier, bone-crunching Xeno action I was looking for.
Boy, did it.
The plot, I don't want to say finally seems like it's starting to go places, but like now I'm starting to get a better sense of like what the premise of this arc is. The art is really good. I don't really know a whole lot about like, the characterization and stuff, because like there wasn't really very much of the three main characters in this issue.
Yeah, there really wasn't, was there? Zasha's on the cover.
Yeah, she's on the cover, but she's only in that one scene as far as I recall.
Like 2 pages.
Yeah, like all of them are only in like 2 pages each. So the 3 main characters were barely in the comic, so I can't really like comment on their characterization. But the art was good, the action was cool, the xenomorphs were really well drawn. I am definitely very intrigued where this is going to go next. How about you?
I'm digging it. This is a fun story in a different way than Icarus, right? This feels classic Alien parentheses S, but with a twist, right? Where we're early enough in the cycle, like in the timeline, that xenomorphs aren't just common knowledge, right? So we've got people in here who have never encountered these things before, the family, right? And then even the Wayland, the researchers and the ape troopers and stuff haven't encountered this stuff before either. The only person with real knowledge about them seems to be Batia and Wiener and the guy who was looking at the files, right? And everybody else is just like out of their fucking league, right? I think it's interesting how disjointed the teams are, right? You've got the communications team and we've got the expedition team or whatever they call them, the dig team, and then you've got the ape trooper team, right? And they're all doing their own jobs and not communicating well with each other, and they're all assholes to each other and to the family, right? Like I think every single team has said shit about Batia and her family, right? They called them idiots. The dig team called them idiots or dumbasses or whatever. So did this communications team, and then the ape troopers are just talking shit about them too. It's just really funny that like everyone just seems to be like, nobody seems to be on the same side of anybody in this, even though they're like, all of them are Wayland Yutani employees. So you can see how their operations go to shit all the time, right? Because everything's compartmentalized and it's all these different departments,
For sure.
and nobody has all of the information. But what's interesting, I'm scrolling back through here, and the guy who was looking at the files of the xenomorph and stuff, all of those are in Talbot Engineering folders, which is really interesting because it makes me wonder if the Talbot operation knew about the xenomorphs prior to this, water resources dig, and if that was just like a cover to try to find a specimen themselves. That's a theory, right? That could
Sure
be.
is.
And I wonder if all of these files are maybe Batia is hiding something, as Wiener hinted at, right? So maybe she has more knowledge of this stuff than she leads on. I mean, we know she knew about Alpha. We saw a post-it note in issue 1 that said Xeno on it or something like that. Might have been a folder. So I think that she knows more than she's leading on, and I'm excited to see where that goes too. But just as a comic book, the art in this is fantastic. These scenes of the hoppers turned over and burning, very, very cool. Very well drawn. The xenomorphs look great, like you were saying. The action in this was well done, and I like that we're not wasting a whole lot of time. Like I like that we're at the point now where at the beginning of issue 3 of 5, allegedly, the keg is just going to start getting overrun. So we're going to have
Because that's the other thing. It's like the xenomorphs don't show up until the very end of issue 2, which means they show up halfway through the arc in issue 3, which about halfway through is when the aliens normally show up in a movie.
Yeah, that's pretty standard, right? So, I'm excited to see this. Again, I think the setting is very cool, the ice planet. I want them to do more with that. But, obviously with the keg now partially exploded, I think that we're going to get some more atmospheric stuff, some more out in the cold scenes, which will be very fun.
Yeah, they're probably going to be stuck outside for a while now, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I don't want is an answer as to how all of these xenomorphs got frozen underneath the ice. I don't need to know that. Please don't waste time telling me that.
Since we're talking about complaints, I will say I am kind of like, all right. Since we're yet again dealing with an aliens style entire horde of xenos,
right?
It can just be a few of them. It doesn't need to be a whole nest. It's fine. You don't need to give me the story of aliens every single time. It's fine.
There is something about this though, where I feel like nobody is prepared to deal with a horde of aliens. So we might it raises the stakes in that way, right? Where like the Marines in Aliens were clearly outnumbered and underprepared, but compared to this, they weren't so outnumbered and underprepared.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that could create some tension and some excitement of just my prediction here. Let's do predictions. Do you have a prediction of how the rest of the story is going to go?
Maybe not as far as like plot is concerned, but I am guessing at some point that a queen will show up.
Okay. Yeah, I hope not.
Oh, and also, I mean, this is probably obvious, but I'm guessing that Wendell the Wiener is gonna get killed.
Yeah, I fucking hope so.
I mean, honestly, I'm guessing that everyone except Zasha and Batya are going to die. That's my guess.
It's a pretty safe bet.
And that includes Dayton. I'm guessing he is going to die at some point.
Yeah, but he'll go out in like a blaze of glory, right? Like
he sure will.
With his one arm.
You know, since he was visibly angry in issue 1, he has to morally make up for it by dying a hero, you know?
He was also visibly angry when the guy said I could take this guy with one arm tied behind my back. He had like this real pissed off face looking at the guy, and I'm like, dude, Dayton's gonna kill you. He's gonna murder you with a shovel or a pickaxe or something, like a tool of his trade. He's gonna beat you to death with it, and I do hope that happens. I'm gonna memorize the guy who said it's got like he's got like the beard that goes, or the mustache that like goes down to his chin. You know?
Yeah.
Just memorize that face because this dude's gonna fucking get it.
But as far as how the actual plot is concerned, like, honestly, I don't really know, just because there hasn't really been a whole lot of plot so far.
Right. It's
mostly just setting up why there's xenomorphs here.
Right. Which, again, I don't want more answers for. I don't know how these humanoid looking xenomorphs that are not runners, didn't pop out of cows or whatever, got frozen under the ice here long ago. Like, I think the short answer is there's probably some engineer shit happened here, right? I wouldn't mind a tease of if Batya's like, well, some of our scans revealed this big head under the ice, right? Like that's all I need to know. Okay.
I mean, I'm guessing the engineers probably aren't involved. Well, okay. Normally I would say that, but as you've pointed out before, the last couple of years, the Aliens Expanded stuff really has been bringing the engineers back to the forefront.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe it is, but I'm guessing that they will explain it, and the explanation won't involve engineers. I'm guessing it'll be like, this planet didn't used to be frozen and there was a research base on here and xenomorphs got out and turned everyone. And so they flooded the place and then it froze over or what. I'm guessing it's some bullshit like that.
Yeah. I do hope it's just like there's ruins, right? There's ruins under the ice here. We don't explore it. We don't go into it. We just get like a file that has, something engineer looking on it, and we don't explain it any further than that, right? Keep the mystery alive, please. 20th Century and Marvel. Rewrite the issues if you have to satisfy just me.
Well, asking Marvel to not explain something is a very tall ask on your part.
Yeah.
They have a terminal case of need to explain everything-itis.
They sure do. As for storyline predictions, I'm going to bet that something happens and a large chunk of these xenomorphs gets wasted in another explosion, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And we do get a limited number of survivors, a mix of nobody in the dig team. They all got wiped out, right? But
as far as we know, yeah.
A couple ape troopers, right? Maybe Zasha and Batya, and there's we got to work together to survive this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But they're only facing off against a handful of these dudes.
Oh, also shit! I just remembered. I just fucking remembered.
Yeah.
one of the ape guys died via a chest burster, which means there's probably going to be a whole horde of xenomorphs trying to get in from the outside while there is one inside stalking around trying to kill everyone.
That's good. Yeah. I bet they try to barricade themselves in or something, right?
And then find out that the one that was already in there is just still in there, and they're like, oh no.
And that's like the big threat, right? So
Yeah.
Maybe that like totally nerfs this horde a little bit. Although this number, like they'd be able to eventually break in, you know?
Oh, especially now that the place is partially destroyed via explosions.
Sure.
Yes.
Unless it collapsed in a very specific way, you know, that would make entry difficult, but
Narratively convenient, but you never know.
I bet that's right. I bet issue 3, maybe issue 4 is going to deal with some survivors hold up somewhere in the keg, thinking that they're like barricaded away from the serpents, right? Because I bet somebody's going to call them serpents.
Probably, yeah.
And then there's one inside. Yeah, that's good. I like that. That would be fun. That would be a kind of a best of both worlds, right? You get your large horde, but you also have like the singular one on the inside with nobody prepared to deal with it. Get a little bit of alien and a little bit of aliens.
I scrolled back and looked at, like, you know, when that one ape gal was fighting the chest burster, and it jumps at her and she fires its gun. She fires her gun at it as it's like leaping on her, but she misses and it hits the tanks and causes the explosion. So unless that chest burster died in the explosion, it's probably still gonna be running around and turning into a xenomorph.
Yeah, and like we've seen, like we saw the little blood bursters like escape the exploding dropship in Covenant, right? So those little guys these little guys can be tricky. You know, that one had the advantage of having legs, but still, you know.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those things where, like, would we reasonably assume that explosion killed it? Yeah, but it's also a xenomorph, so we can just say, like, yeah, sure, it survived. Who cares? Whatever.
it got away somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. We just didn't see it. It's fine.
Gnarly in the explosion aftermath, because the explosion is coming up on the other ape trooper and then the body of the dead one. It looks like in the explosion, the dead one's head came off.
It certainly is drawn like, I mean, it didn't, but yes, it does look like that via like the coloring that they used in the panel and stuff. Yeah. It looks like a severed head. But yeah, that's fun. It's cool.
This is a cool book. I like the direction this is going. This does feel very different from the Philip Kennedy Johnson Marvel books that preceded this one.
Yeah.
Stylistically, it's very cool. I'm looking forward to the next issue.
All right. Sorry. I was looking at this final panel here, and unless I counted wrong, this final panel has 48 xenomorphs in it.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Like I said, I may have counted it wrong, but it's like high 40s for sure. I may have double counted one or two of them around here, but looks like
40,
we're dealing
40,
with roughly 48 of them.
I'm counting about 46-ish. So yeah, I fast counted. Like, yeah, that's a large number of
high 40s.
Large number of XX121s. A large number of, what did they call it?
I'm scrolling to get to it.
Linguaphoda. Well, I lost it. Acheronsis. Linguaphoda acheronsis.
Or if we want to use the one that's actually in this book, Internecivus raptus.
Internecivus raptus, or murderous thief. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
Foul tongue of Acheron feels like what the engineers would call him.
Yeah, like that's the kind of thing where it's like, it's a cool name, but it feels a little too poetic for something like this.
It's definitely written, right? Maybe a little overwritten, but fun shit.
A little flowery, but yeah.
Yeah, man. This one will be good. I think this one's going to be good. So far, so good in any case.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely insane to me that she just like stuffed a frozen face hugger in her backpack. And
yeah, that is insane to me. Like, it's so insane to me that, like, when you pointed out that that's what she did, part of me was like, no way.
Yeah, but that makes sense that it is looking back at issue 1 with this added context. It is very clear that that's what she did. It was a little murky in issue 1. So like we get a pass for being confused about that.
Well, I can tell you right now, I would not bring a block of frozen facehugger with me if I'm fleeing into the wilds of a frozen ice planet. But that's just me.
Sure, but we know what a face hugger is, and
True.
she is a dumb kid who
Also true.
was, and like it's clear what she was trying to do, right? She was trying to hide the specimen from Wayland.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to get it out of there. Side note, distraction. Kenny, have you seen the Paul W.S. Anderson Death Race movie with Jason Statham?
I have not. No.
Okay. Well, this is unrelated to that movie, but it is related to the direct-to-video sequels that I think are actually prequels to that movie.
I knew those exist, but I haven't seen them.
Do you know the company in the prequels specifically that owns the prison where Death Race and all of these things happen is called the Wayland Corporation?
I mean, I have to assume that's on purpose.
You don't do that by accident, right? Like,
Yeah, there's no way that's a coincidence.
I don't think that the Death Race movies are canon to the Alien universe, but this might be a Predator situation where the Alien universe is canon to the Death Race universe. Ugh.
All right. Well, let's see. His character's name is Jensen Ames, huh? Wow, what a
Jensen
name.
Ames. First of all,
Jensen Ames.
that first Death Race movie fucking rules. Cannot say the same for the prequels, sequels.
It takes place in the far-flung future of 2012. Cool.
Boy, we dodged a bullet there.
Let's see. I'm looking through the trivia on IMDb to see if they mention anything about it.
Death Race owner is R.H. Wayland, played by Ving Rhames. And again, this is in the direct-to-video sequels. This was never mentioned in the theatrically released film from 2008.
Oh, that's the reason why I wasn't seeing it. I was looking at the IMDb for the first one.
Yeah, no, this is some shit they made up for the
not the original first one, but like the one with Jason Statham, the first one of the remakes.
Right. Not the Corman, not Death Race 2000.
Yeah.
We're talking Death Race 2, Death Race 3 Inferno, and Death Race Beyond Anarchy. I need to tell you about I haven't finished Death Race 2, I want to be clear. It's not a good movie. But Death Race Beyond Anarchy, a privatized security firm runs the Sprawl, a massive prison housing around 420,000 inmates. Inside, the popular Death Race competition has been made illegal by the new warden who was hired by the prison's owner, Wayland International. He has been tasked with taking out Frankenstein, the prison's Death Race champion and king. So they just go full Arkham City for the third direct-to-video Death Race movie. I don't even fucking know, man.
All right. Well, Sean Bean is in the second one. That's fun.
He is. He slums it in that one for a while.
So is Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Danny Trejo's in several of them, I think.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's even.
I guess he didn't have anything better to do.
Danny Trejo doesn't say no to work. That's why we love him.
That is why we love him. That's true.
Yeah.
You've got me there.
Danny Trejo was in American Pie Presents Girls Rules on Netflix, for instance. Anyway, we're way off topic now.
We sure are. Like I said, I'm going through the IMDb to see if any of the trivia sections of these movies mention that the thing is called Wayland, but so far none of them have mentioned it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say, you know what? I'm gonna take an even different approach. I'm gonna say that the Death Race movies are in the same universe as the Alien versus Predator movies, which are in the same universe as the Predator movies. So,
oh shit! Danny Glover is in the fourth Death Race movie.
Is he playing his character from Predator? Because that would track.
Depends. What is his character's name in that movie?
Pretty sure it's Danny Glover. No.
Good bit.
Lieutenant Mike Harrigan.
No, he's playing a guy named Baltimore Bob in this one.
Criminy. Well, there goes that theory.
Well, it was worth checking.
If anyone's still listening, I guess the last thing we should cover is having read 2 issues of this series, Kenny, if you didn't have to read issue 3 for the podcast, would you read issue 3 anyway?
Yes. Largely, but not exclusively, because the ending of it promises a whole bunch of xenomorph murdering. So yes.
Same here. I would continue this series if we didn't have an obligation as well. All right. So check it out if you haven't. Sorry we spoiled it for you. Otherwise.
Yeah, it's fun, and sorry we sat there for like 10 minutes and talked about the Death Race prequels, but it's how it goes.
Look, we get bored out here in space.
Well, I wouldn't say we were bored, because that implies it wasn't worth doing the episode.
That's true. This is just a thing I thought about. I meant to bring up before we started, but didn't. All right. I think we should pack it up, though, and get in from this cold.
For sure.
Kind of related to the intro.
I'll let it go.
What do you got going on, Kenny? Where can people find you if you want them to?
I'm on Twitter. My handle is at CYHOBBEZ. I go on Twitter a lot just to like check and see posts, but I very frequently forget that I also can make posts of my own. So like once every few days, or like once or twice a week, I might remember to post something. But follow me on there. It's always cool to see number go up. I'm pretty much on every other social media site that I use that same handle on. So if you come across one that I'm on there, send me a thing. It's probably me.
You can find me on Twitter at Final Neal. I similarly don't use it very much, but I use Instagram a little bit more often, which is also not very much, at Final Neal Retro. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Final Neal, and that's Neal with an A, because I'm going to be streaming some Alien Trilogy pretty soon here, since we will be doing an episode on that shortly.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the plan.
Going to be trying to get some Fireteam going as well, although I've had some trouble making matchmaking recently, so Fireteam players, where you at? Let's do this. Where can people find the show, Kenny, on the internet?
Our website is crewexpendable.net. Our Twitter handle is at crewexpendapod. Our Instagram handle is at crewexpendablepod. And you can send us an email at mother@crewexpendable.net.
Yes. And we have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/@crewexpendable. Largely it's the podcast episodes, but if you miss any of these alien related streams I do, they should be streaming over there on our Crew Expendable YouTube channel as well, and they'll be archived there. So give us a subscription over there, and we'll be back pretty soon here to finally talk about that short story, Alien Deep Black.
It is in the short story collection Aliens Bug Hunt.
Yeah, and it's fun. I've listened to it already, but I got to listen to it again to talk about it.
It's a pretty breezy read. Yeah. It's only about 18 pages or so, give or take. So It goes by quick.
Yeah. And the episode probably will also. We'll probably talk more about the Death Race sequels in that one. But after that, we will be moving on to the classic first-person shooter Alien Trilogy. So rate us, review us 5 stars, subscribe in your podcast app, subscribe on YouTube, etc. You know the drill. And until next time, stay frosty. That means more when we're talking about this frozen moon, LV695, right?
I see what you did there.
Definitely staying frosty.
About as frosty as it gets, yeah.